What is up, guys, and welcome here to the ESL Major League Americas. I am Solid Jake.
And I'm Kubi. Oh boy!
Yeah, off to
technical difficulties.
Interesting start.
Yes. What time is it? It is about 47 minutes late. No problem, right? Okay, so story, if you guys haven't been following along with the chat, is that the Twitch delay is currently down, or it's just not functioning at the very least.
Right.
Unfortunately, we can't stream any of the games without some kind of delay there, at the very least a minute, so that it's fair to the teams. Someone can just, watch the stream, say, oh, this person's doing this XYZ strategy that they wouldn't want to know right away. Ideally, we would stream longer delays, but of course that starts to take away from the production value, etc., etc. So we're going to have to go with the next best option, and that is, unfortunately, it's going to be casting from replay, but
it's close to live because they just finished game one. So the game one, we got a message from C Steve.
Right.
He watched the match. He shot us the replay.
Yep.
So we haven't seen it. The game just finished, so it's going to be like we're playing a game behind. So
sure,
it's as live as it gets without being live.
Oh, I wonder, could we make our own Stormcraft to redo the draft? Would that be? Probably should have thought about this before we went live.
We have it.
Yeah,
right?
we have it, but okay.
Have it.
All right. Spoilers. I was thinking we could do it in the order.
Right.
That way it wouldn't be. But
well, this
is
my first time looking at it. We just know that they did it.
Sure.
So let's just talk about this really quick. So here's the Stormcraft. Vault was banned up, but who had first pick? Do you know?
Cloud and Maelstrom did. First pick, first ban.
So the first ban went on Vala, and then Murlocs responded with Uther. But this is we can just talk about it in general.
Sure.
It's really interesting because Falstad, Brightwing, two heroes that have gone almost extinct, but we're looking at Cursed Hollow, and that's the global presence. You have that fly, you have the phase shift, you have the bribes, you have that, and ETC also has that crazy utility. In theory, you could get the hunt. I don't know if that's what they're going for, but
we'll find out. So, of course, we're in the same boat that you guys are in. We didn't see any of that last game. The only thing we know is roughly how long it took, but even then, I'm not counting minute-wise. So, like you mentioned, we do have the ETC and the Brightwing. That is a lot of global presence. And the Falstad, there's a lot of potential there. It could be a weird strategy. Other than that, the Falstad picks, we don't see them all that often. But it could point towards them looking to get a very burst-style composition. Well, not even really composition, but usually when you grab Falstad, you want that heavy burst onto a single target. There's a possibility of doing that with Tyrande if the lockdown's there, but ETC is not really the warrior that you would want to grab if that's the style you're going for. Almost makes me think that Mighty Gust was taken.
Interesting.
Who knows? Maybe it's just a complete disengage. We're going to avoid the enemy team as much as possible style composition. On the other side, for Murlocs Inc., we have some also very interesting picks.
Yeah.
Lost Vikings. I see Chen. I know that Chen was played a little bit over the weekend. You casted some of those games.
It is St. Patrick's Day, after all. And if there wasn't a Chen involved, I would be disappointed. Because Murlocs, they were like the first NA team to really start playing Chen. He's been popular in Europe for a while.
Yeah.
But we saw him to great success last week in the Ding It Championship. So against Maelstrom. So
popular on this map as well. Potential for some boss deals. All right, let's not try to delay this too much so that we're not lagging too far behind game number 2. Who knows how long it's going to take? But I say we just get right into it. I don't know if you want to maybe talk about the standings real quick.
Yes.
Quick of the story is however you want to word that. This is a very, very important game for C9 Maelstrom and Murlocs Inc. As you can see, they are both tied 3-3. They want to get into that spot. Only the top 4 make it into the playoffs for the ESL NA Major League Season number 1. That's where the money is. Only one of these two teams can make it into the playoff spot.
And when it boils down to it, this match is for money. Because the team that wins this best-of-3 series, like you said, advances into playoffs, and you're guaranteed money. So it's a big deal.
Yes.
It gives you that spot to earn part of that $4,200 prize pool. And they both want it a lot, but without further ado, Kubi.
Yes, I'd love to hype it up more, but it's time to get into it. Let's not hold this sweet information back from the viewers anymore. Let's get right into that replay.
So Cursed Hollow, again, this replay just happened. This game just ended. They're starting game number 2 right now, and we are loading up the map right in quick. And on the left side, Kubi, that is the blue team, Cloud9 Maelstrom with Dunk Train playing as Tyrande, iDream on Illidan. It's going to be King Caffeine playing ETC, Biceps on Falstad, and K1 Pro on that Brightwing.
That's correct. And on the other side of the map, the red team, that will be Murlocs Inc. We are going to have Caterpillar on the Lost Vikings. Excuse us, guys. Usually we have 2 monitors for this. We'll get through it. Hans is going to be on Zagara, Clown on Tassadar, Matt Timmy's going to be playing Rhaegar, and Equinox is going to be on Shen.
These 2 teams, there's a lot on the line here. They want to win this best of 3 series because this is actually more important than pretty much any match they've played all season long. It's the final match here in the group stage, and the winning team will advance into the playoffs no matter what happens.
I'm really excited to see what heroics are grabbed at level 10. I'm going to be paying attention to Cloud9 Maelstrom's choices. There's a lot of potential for some strange play. As I was highlighting before, it could be a complete disengaged global style composition where they grab the Mighty Gust and just I don't know. Maybe this is something that's picking up steam with some of the teams. I haven't heard of it. I haven't seen any games cast like that.
What if Mighty Gust is used to disengage the barrel disengage on the boss?
Or it's used to steal their own boss, because that is a possibility too, right? You can fly to the other side of the wall where the boss is, and you can Mighty Gust away and then barrel over the wall. Or a barrel roll, I should say. Not to confuse you guys. There's barrel roll for false.
Oh gosh, it's just you can like we were saying, you fly over this wall, you Mighty Gust over, and then you barrel roll through the wall and you steal the boss. We've seen it on Reddit in the past. It's a really fun kind of idea that can be executed.
Sure. So Jake, back in the day, and I'm talking maybe 3.5 months ago, Falstad and Brightwing were both played very heavily in the meta. I don't know if you remember this. This is when Burst was reigning supreme, right? Double bribe was a thing.
Oh yeah.
Do you think it still should be a thing here? Should they have tried to go for that?
I'm kind of sad they didn't, but based on their composition, it's not really relevant because they have Illidan. And Illidan is so good in the jungle
he really is.
that grabbing two bribes would be kind of silly. It's as fun as it would be. I mean, Falstad still has the capability of going over to those giants, bribing offensive giants, flying away, and I do actually like the arcane precision. I mean, the more I see it, the more I like it. It adds the additional burst potential, and especially for just like throwing your arcane flare. It's nice for clearing waves, but it's also nice for the tower damage that you can apply.
So what style of Lost Vikings should we expect to see? Do you think that they will be doing a roam-heavy style? Just it looks as though right now they're going for that single lane soak style. Do you think that's more or less what we can expect to see?
They'll probably soak 2 lanes during the tribute.
Okay.
Beyond that, it's just going to come down to those big longboat raids once we get level 10. They're just going to be utilized for getting to that level 10 as fast as possible for their team.
Feral Heart, no bar sight.
And yeah, it's surprising,
especially on this map, where knowing whether the enemy team is taking knights, if they're going for the boss, if they're on their way to the tribute, having this information is so critical, and it can make the difference, especially when there is the capability for each team to potentially steal golem bosses.
But knowing Matt Timmy, this is really his style. He loves Feral Heart. He prefers to do to it as often as possible. So I can't claim I'm super surprised by this, but we do have that first tribute spawning. King Caffey's already in position, and what will the Vikings end up doing? Currently, all 3 of them still in that middle lane, but we could see Eric rotate down to the bottom.
Just applying a bit of pressure to Brightwing. King Caffeine almost uncontested to grab that first tribute. A bit of a whiff on the Lunar Flare. Matt Timmy will be able to get out. That applied pressure might secure C9 Maelstrom the first tribute of the game. Indeed, they will take it.
But, you know, got some damage done here in the bottom lane. We have Hans going in with that Zagara, just throwing the seed damage, throwing his Hydras down to apply as much damage as possible, because really what they care about is getting ahead in experience by getting the structure damage.
Yeah, it's all about that EXP lead. They have it. I'll say it's maybe an 1/8 of a level at the current time being, but it is all about that important race to level 10, especially when the power spike for these heroes is at that level. They get the oh-so-powerful heroics. It really defines each team's ability to take team fights, to just sort of, it sculpts how they're going to play the rest of the game from that point forward.
It does, and just kind of looking at Zagara, it's kind of weird to think that she got Demolitionist. It's a talent that we almost never see anymore. Often we see Zagaras really speccing into the creep as much as possible, or even just getting the corpse feeders, but Hans getting caught a little bit out of position, the shield coming out from Clown keeping him alive, and he's going to have the Hearth back to his base to restore his mana and health, and Matt Timmy will be greeted by a Tyrande.
Yes. Regenerative Rains for Brightwing. That might speak to an Emerald Wind pickup for the Heroic at level 2 for Brightwing. It could again point towards that disengaged style.
It could go both ways, for sure. But We're going to find out. Equinox is taking a lot of damage, and he would love an Ancestral right now, but it is not level 10 quite yet. Metim is going to have to run away, and this tribute will be given up to Cloud9. Now, Caterpillar are going to have to run, use that go on Lost Vikings to get Eric out of that situation. And Tassadar are going to get the bottom tower.
One of the big weaknesses for Chen is the ability to stun or polymorph him out of the brew, and he found himself on the unfortunate end of both of those. He was stunned out from the lunar flare, and then the polymorph went down. That's usually enough, especially if he didn't get enough brew or mana in that sense to leap out, but I don't even think there were any targets to leap to safety. Chen finds himself falling. First kill of the game going to Cloud9 Maelstrom.
Yeah, I mean, that's the power of Brightwing. Sure, she's fallen off a lot in the meta, but she's still a very formidable hero. I mean, she has that Holly, she has the Emerald Wind, and we are actually going to see...
it is Hinterlands. Emerald Wind. It is still Hinterlands. They are looking to take some semblance of a team fight. Man, that would have been a cool strategy. I would have loved to see that, because that would be really flipping the meta up on its head.
Yeah, but...
Still, I'm curious to see how they're going to set up to get all the value out of Hinterland's Blast. Of course, this map is home to having a lot of narrow passageways. There are going to be many opportunities for Falstead to set up and line up, at least hitting 3 members, especially when he grabs that overdrive, I'm guessing at level 16, to try to maximize that damage. This is a very important tribute for Cloud9 Maelstrom, or for both teams, of course. Murlocs Inc. really needs to deny this if they want to dodge that curse, which is going to provide quite a bit of pushing power for Cloud9 Maelstrom.
Now, Equinox is going to have to go in and try to stump them train. He's going to be able to do that, but he has to be careful. Instantly, yeah, the Hunter's Mark just blowing him up. The Ancestral was a little bit too late in that shock, and we talked about it. The Hinterland's Blast is doing a ton of damage, ruining their day. We have our janitor, Mr. iDream, moving forward to clean up the rest of this team, even the aggressive fly from Biceps in a very early curse, 3-0, picked up by Cloud9.
Again, Chen, he had to go forward to try to stall that tribute. As I mentioned, it is a very important tribute for Murlocs Inc. to stall. They find themselves having to throw Chen a little bit too far forward. The stun and the polymorph once again. Ancestral was just a little bit too late. That put them off on a bad footing for the start of the fight. And then, as we were talking about before, having that nice lineup on Hinterland's Blast, that was just about all Cloud9 Maelstrom needed to lock away that 3.75 for nothing team fight.
Now, if the Ancestral was on point and connected with Chen,
yeah,
and Chen was able to barrel, do you think that would have changed the fight a lot?
Yes, the damage output for the Hinterland's Blast would probably have remained the same, considering the position that Murlocs Inc. was still in. The fight would have been much, much closer. I think I still would have given the edge to Cloud9 Maelstrom, considering that they would have had to have used the Ancestral Healing without having really obtained much other than stalling up until that point. The positioning was still there for Maelstrom. I think I'd still give them the edge.
Okay, well, we're going to see Maelstrom pick up this boss, and they are well aware that it is very likely Murlocs are trying to pick up the boss of their own. We can see King Caffeine Heart being back. He's going to get mana, but he has that stage dive available, and there it goes. He's going to be there a little bit before the rest of his team, but he can still bully them back. Now, the barrel will not need to be used as they force him back, but the Metamorphosis gets Illidan onto that. A big maw going down, and the Hinterland Blast will connect with several members. iDream is still sitting there. Dungtrain goes in, and the Emerald Wind pushes them off, and they manage to steal a very aggressive boss, only losing their cow.
Only losing the cow. Yes, we saw that the stage dive was indeed a little bit too early. The vision they had, you sort of have to time it out. It's also entirely possible that as soon as they see the stage dive ring appear, they can just throw their hands up. Okay, stop attacking it for a second. Let's try to just focus ETC real quick, because, of course, the ring to capture that camp hasn't appeared yet. They can try to apply a bit of pressure. He did end up falling in that fight, not before Illidan and Tyrande, of course, were able to get there to apply support. They managed to get the boss and a couple more kills. This game has all C9 Maelstrom.
Yeah, they're looking good so far. Looking at the stats, Illidan topping those charts, and the second highest is 12,000 on Zagara. Well, that's the highest, at least, for the side of Murlocs. So they're kind of being outclassed in terms of that Illidan, but that's the power of that hero, which is why we see him first picked and banned in a lot of matchups.
All right, let's start to theory craft a little bit about how Murlocs Inc. can get back into this game. They do need to try to maximize the effectiveness for the Longboat raid, of course, but I think really it's going to come down to Chen and how well they can isolate the enemy team. Ideally, they end up splitting up the enemy team, Cloud9 Maelstrom in this case, or they can just try to focus out, make sure that the two healers are out of the fight compared to where the rest of the team is, and there could be a bit of a scuffle over these Giants. They're in the position to try to contest this. Cloud9 Maelstrom is.
That's how
they're doing it.
Yeah.
Oh, Illidan, not quite there in time.
Well, the Metamorphosis is going to go for it. Now, those Giants were, in fact, picked up by the side of Murlocs Inc., but they are just getting obliterated. Illidan is going for it, dishing out as much damage. The inner circle, the increased damage on that Brightwing is paying off and killing those Vikings, and Equinox will also fall on Chen. Their party bush looked good, but it failed.
Yeah, it wasn't quite enough. Of course, when Illidan is ahead, it's so much more difficult to deal with him. All those auto attacks deal way more damage than your team can really output, and he just stays alive forever. I was going to say, probably not able to finish this game. Still, there's a ton of pressure being applied across the map. They have that mobility that we were talking about before, so Cloud9 Maelstrom is going to fly over and get themselves the first tribute for the second cycle.
Let's talk about that global presence, because it is paying off. False Knight just flying up to the tribute. Brightwing just phase shifting over to Ivory. Anywhere they need to be on the map, they're there. And that's, I mean, with a map like Cursed Hollow, that is such a useful thing to have.
Okay, for Murlocs Inc., I really want to see them start to play very passively. No more strange shenanigans in terms of party bushing. Yes, I realize that a risk will need to be taken at some point, but I think they need to try to leverage it as best as possible, and they should try to wait until they're level 16 to get those important talents, especially it's more survivability on the Vikings. We're seeing that pressure point if Chen decides to go for it. It's just more control in those fights, more damage output, but more importantly, I think it's a lot of survivability from Murlocs Inc. I'd love to see them wait, just play as passively as possible, stall out so they can get 16. Then they need to try to make that aggressive play, whether that be hiding and party bushing somewhere that Maelstrom is not expecting.
Well, right now they're really just trying to hit that level 16 because Murlocs are 18 to 15. It's a massive advantage and the talent advantage they've had for quite a while. And that's kind of like a big power talent for Brightwing, because once you throw Critterize in the mix, you have Sprint, so you can get in position for these ridiculous Emerald wins, and then you can just Critterize that one target that you want to eliminate, and that target will melt. Okay, so 16 has been hit, and Chen is going for the combination attack.
Okay, so it's more burst damage for Chen. The next auto attack that he does after having thrown down the flying kick will do triple damage, maybe even 4 times damage. It's a lot more. It really helps his burst. So they're going to try to isolate targets, I imagine, as best as possible. Of course, that's always going to be the name of the game, but they need to make sure that the focus is there for the team and just try to really snowball the fight in their advantage as fast as possible.
Well, Illidan and ETC, they are going to pick up these Giants. And notice Toronto just throwing a Lunar Flare and a Hunter's Mark, just helping from afar. So nice.
So nice.
Thoughtful.
Jake's doing these waving, overarching hand motions. You guys
nice
can't see them, unfortunately. Okay, Murlocs Inc. is going to need to make a move before level 20 hits for Cloud9 Maelstrom. If they choose to wait until after that point, it's going to be all but impossible to try and take a team fight until they hit level 20 themselves. And who knows what kind of damage will have been dealt structurally by then. They need to try to make a move before then. What that is going to be, well, them showing across the map or even trying to stall out this golem, I really don't think that's the answer.
Yeah, you have to consider that right now Cloud9 is soaking both middle and top because they have that global presence. They don't have that urgency, and Caterpillar almost losing Eric to the stop of the golem. There is the stage dive. The Hinterland Blast goes down, dealing so much damage, and the Maw only connects with one member on the side of our blue team, but Illidan moving forward with King Caffeine, dishing out that damage. The healing ward has a great position. Illidan can just stand inside there, 3% healing every single second, and Equinox and Matt Timmy, they're both going to end up falling.
Starting the fight off with that Hinterland's Blast, just completely eliminating Zakara within a blink of an eye. That hurt for sure. The Emerald Wind was also very nicely placed to keep Illidan alive. He just got himself down to just a very small amount of HP. But the seconds that the enemy team wanted to focus him and now are being pushed backwards along the wave of Emerald Wind, that's enough time for him to throw down the auto attacks to keep him alive. So nicely synced up. The rest of the fight just sort of fell apart from there. Very, very, very clean game for Cloud9 Maelstrom, really showing their dominance that they've been having as of late as honestly one of the top 3 teams in NA. Murlocs Inc., they're going to have to at least try to clean up their early game for game number 2, and they're going to need to, I guess, go back to the drawing board a little bit in terms of what their strategy was. I'm not sure what they were hoping for with the Chen pick and not having another warrior. I'm not sure if the other teams have been running Chen without another warrior. Have they been playing him as a sole warrior? Okay. So it just seemed as though, at least running into this composition with Brightwing and the extra stun available, it was so difficult, it seemed, for Chen to get any effectiveness going.
I think that's the cool thing about Brightwing.
Yeah.
If Chen is going to be popular, all that does is put another rotation in the meta. Hey, Brightwing's not popular. Oh, Chen's starting to be played. All right, let's throw Brightwing. Now, in this situation, Brightwing was picked before Chen. So it wasn't a direct counter. If I'm not mistaken, that was the draft order. Brightwing was picked first. But it's still...
Yeah, they did pick Chen into Brightwing.
Okay, so that's a bit odd to think about that. Like, it's like, okay, Stitches was still on the table.
Yes.
Murden, Arthas, like, you know, I
Diablo,
know Murden, Arthas, Diablo's still on the table too. Murlocs, we know they like Chen, but Brightwing kind of ruins his day because
Chen's also very good on this map too. Don't forget that.
True, but you also have to look at they already have Critterize and Hunter's Mark, and if Chen dives in and he needs survivability, you can stop the brew and you put that Hunter's Mark down and he melts.
Yeah, how often did we see the barrel really make an impact in any of the team fights?
He was dead before it even got to fight.
That's what it comes down to. So it's like, okay, why did you take Chen? Not that they could have planned for that going into it,
right?
But it just goes to show you what effectiveness he did have, not to the fault of the player. Just it seemed as though with the rest of the composition, it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, it definitely. I mean, some things that just ruin his day. But Chen, we've definitely seen some good play of him recently. But, well, that was game one.
It was.
Guys, just to recap you if you're just tuning in.
Right.
We've got a bit of a weird issue today where Twitch delay makes it so you can't broadcast. You apply the delay to your stream, and your stream will not go live.
Ever.
So,
for days.
We're casting the games by replay as they finish. That was game one.
Yep.
And it took the teams a little while to get started for game two, so it's going to be a few minutes.
What time is it now? Okay. Right.
It's gonna be
that game is 6 minutes in for game number 2. Yeah. So, of course, they have to, take their bio breaks or whatever, the draft.
The draft,
of course, the map striking.
Yes.
All of these things need to happen before they can, of course, jump into the game. That said, oh, geez, what is a good time to try to come back here?
Well, whenever it's done. I mean, whenever the game is complete.
I know. Ideally, we would try to get them to draft as soon as possible. That's just too much of a variable, I think. So I guess we'll just have to wait until we hear from Matt in terms of getting that replay, and we'll...
Well, let's just take another look at the standings really quick while you guys are with us and just kind of explain what's happening here. Now, this is the final week of the group stage in the ESL Major League for both Europe and America. And what that boils down to is, well, this is going to determine the final placings.
That it will. And, of course, for C9 Maelstrom and Murlocs Inc., this is do or die time to get into that playoff bracket. They need that 4-3 final record to get themselves, to secure themselves that final spot. Oh, so important. Cloud9 Maelstrom taking a fairly quick and dominant 1-0 victory in that last game.
And, Murlocs, they want to bring it back because whoever wins this match, they will qualify for those playoffs. So Murlocs, they're going to come back. They're going to fight hard in this next match.
I know those guys. They'll come up with something. They will come up with something. I'm excited.
Yeah. But on that note, I think we're going to run to a quick commercial break.
Yeah.
And by quick, I mean... It could be extended.
Yes, maybe soon, maybe soon-ish we'll be back.
So guys, stay with us. We'll keep you guys up to date on Twitter. We'll keep you guys up to date here.
We'll stay in the chat. We'll try to let you know as soon as we hear anything. But of course, we're trying not to get spoiled for the matches either. So right now, our admin CS Steve he's in the match game number 2, and as soon as he's done with that, he'll send us a replay. We won't know anything. Unfortunately, that means we can't tell you much in terms of when it's going to finish, etc. So. Just have to play it by ear. Technical difficulties.
Yeah, guys, it happens. Nothing we can do about it, unfortunately, but we will be back as soon as we can, so stay with us. See you in a bit. Alrighty, guys, welcome back here to the ESL Major League Americas. I am Solid Jake,
and I am Kubi.
And well, the night continues as we boat along. If you
I get it. God,
I don't know if I get it.
Longboat raid.
Oh,
we saw that
good.
last.
I was just thinking about boats, you know.
Yeah, sometimes you just drift off and
St.
thought
Patrick's.
about boats.
Very good. St. Patrick's Day is all.
Is
about,
that good?
It's all
I don't know.
boats.
Okay.
It's all about
all right,
boats.
I'll give it to you. Sure.
Yep. Do you know anything?
All right. St. Patrick's Day and boats are
Hand
somehow
hand in hand.
Okay. I don't. Not. Moving on.
So, all right, let's update everyone that is just tuning in on the standing situation. Now, we did have a bit of an error in my graphic before where I didn't have Templestorm and Tuark in the correct places. Tuark is in second place, Templestorm is in third, so I had a bit of an error on my end. My fault, but yes, Tuark is 5-1, Templestorm is 4-2 in third place. And that fourth place position, well, that's
right.
what they're fighting for right now.
Who's they? Cloud9 Maelstrom and Murlocs Inc. Of course, if you guys missed it, we just casted game number 1 from replays. Of course, a bit of technical difficulties. Twitch is being finicky. That's the word I'll use. We can't cast with a delay, which means that it's just not fair to the teams. So we have to cast from replays. We just casted game number 1. Cloud9 Maelstrom took 1-0 victory.
Right, and we're casting the replays like the game ends.
Yes, of
replay
course.
file comes to us. We're casting it. So
and we don't know.
The only downside to this is it's practically watching the game live with like a 20-minute delay or something, right? That's the idea. The only difference is we can't watch the draft live, and that's kind of a downer. It's kind of a downer. But on that note,
all right,
let's take a look at the draft.
So the map is going to be Blackheart's Bay. Keep that in mind. And I see that the double healer was sniped out very quickly for Cloud9 Maelstrom. I believe the first ban went to Murlocs Inc. They banned out Illidan. First picked Vala, but then those two top-tier heroes, supports, went to Cloud9 Maelstrom way. That makes things difficult moving forward for Murlocs.
Yeah, it's always tough fighting in Uther Rhaegar, no matter how you look at it. And the way they followed up with double support is something marvelous.
Marvelous. Yes, it took them a little bit to get there, but they found themselves with that's a very, very, I'm going to say it, it's old. It's an old style. That is what is known back in the day, perhaps around the October timeframe. That is the Eraser build, or just composition, Eraser composition. The Sonya Leap, Tyrael Judgment. You pick and choose the target you want to kill, and you kill them very quickly.
Now, in the old version of this, we would see Falstad with Shock and Awe at the time. Now Hinterland's Blast.
That's a comment that I made to you between games. I looked at it and I was like, oh, I almost would have preferred to see Falstad perhaps instead of Jaina.
You're so OG, Kubi.
OG. What did I say? Uh-oh. Did I say Shock and Awe?
So old school.
No, I see. Oh, I was like, I've been good. I've been good about saying anyone's Blast. I swear. I swear. All right. For Murlocs Inc., they follow the double support snipe with ETC Tyrande. That's almost very mirrored from the last game of what Cloud9 Maelstrom had in their composition. Is that right? Yeah, for pretty much. Just swapping out Vala for Illidan. They also picked up the Emerald Wind and Tychus. It's a very all over the place kind of composition, especially Tychus. We're not used to seeing Tychus picked too often. Still, the damage is there, of course, and I still say that people are sleeping on him. I think that he's
all right.
Are we back?
Technical difficulties.
Okay, I think we're back. All right. Jake's just casually pulling plugs out of his mixer. No problem. No problem.
Oh,
all right, so I was talking about Tychus. I think that people will still need to explore him a little bit more, especially in the flank style. If they don't know when Odin has been casted in those team fights and he just sort of appears on the other side as a flank, I think that can do a lot of damage considering that he has quite a bit of AoE now in his kit and a bit more mobility for that Odin. All right, Jake, what do you think? Shall we begin?
I'm trying to find the replay. I thought I put it in this folder, but it's not appearing, so bear with me. This is...
I think it is 88. Blackheart's 88. It's not there. All right. So what does Murlocs Inc. need to do to really step this up? How are they going to be approaching these team fights? Oh, is that it? Jake double clicks and we have it.
Double click the file and it starts loading.
Okay.
Technology. All right, guys. Blackheart Spay is the map. The score is
That's right.
1-0 in favor of Cloud9 Maelstrom.
Indeed.
Wub, wub, wub. Sorry about that.
Sudden musics. It's fine. They wanted to dance, right? They wanted to dance.
I want to dance.
Did we swap the sides? Oh, is Jake on that right now?
I'm working on it.
Okay. All right, I suppose I can get to introducing the teams for you guys. On the blue side, for Murlocs Inc., we have Caterpillar playing ETC. Equinox is going to be playing Tyrande. Clown on Vala. Mad Timmy will be playing Brightwing. And Hans on Tychus. And for the red team, of course, that is Cloud9 Maelstrom, currently at a 1-0 advantage over Murlocs Inc. We have Dunk Train on Rhaegar. Biceps going to be playing Uther. K1 Pro on Jaina. King Caffeine will be playing Tyrael. And iDream on Sonya to round it out.
All right, those are our two teams. Let us get the nice talent screen up here so we can look at it. And all right, so Sonya is going for the Shot of Fury, and we do see the Deep Chill here on Tyrande. And Brightwing, this game opting for that bribe. So Brightwing 2 games in a row. We thought that dragons were extinct, but they are back.
They're excited about, what is it? Is it Black Rock Mountain?
Yeah.
Yeah, dragons, right?
Dragons.
The themes?
They released
they
two
know,
cards
they're getting
today.
excited.
They're looking fun, but that's a different game.
It is a different game. But I like the bribe pickup, especially on this map, and since Brightwing looks to be soaking that bottom lane, taking those giants as soon as possible, it provides you quite a bit of pressure in that bottom lane because it is so much further away from the other two lanes. That might even be the largest gap between two lanes.
I think it is. And maybe the only difference could maybe be Sky Temple. But
no, I think that is the largest gap. I'm looking at it hero-wise.
Well, it also opens up the option for the offensive giant pickup, of course, and having the global presence with that Brightwing. You can always phase shift wherever you need to be into the battle, which we can see right here. Uther did lose his life, so that's one kill happening very nicely by Murlocs, picking up that first kill of the game. And looking at the count here on the coins, well, we can see that it's 3 on the side of Murlocs.
Yes.
7 picked up.
That's quite a bit. That's quite a bit, and I think at the 2-minute mark is when we will see those mercenary camps pop up. Do they have a heavy murking option? I suppose the best bet for Cloud9 Maelstrom is going to be in the form of Sonya, maybe? Clown actually might, okay, does still have the vault. We didn't quite get to see if that was off cooldown or not.
Ooh.
Still nice, and canceling out that.
Yes! Wow. That's going to be a nice kill. Equinox lining up the 100 mark Lunar Flare, and Caterpillar dashing forward, knocking him back. Very good coordination with the team there. Absolutely,
and canceling out that Whirlwind, especially when there are creeps nearby to heal off of, it's a big bane of Sonya's existence. So in team fights, especially if there's a lot of reliance on that Whirlwind, just a quick stun can really cancel her out. And that's why we see a lot of Sonya players opting to go for this very slams-heavy style build that involves leap. You're not really relying on that so much. So until there is a change in that, if there ever is one, I think that will be the way that we see Sonya's build from here on out.
Yeah, well, speaking about builds, we got that Tychus with Melting Point now at level 4. And you can see he's really starting to apply that damage to the tower. Pushing forward, I mean, the push becomes kind of ridiculous, and in terms of just taking merc camps and even killing these pirates, it's very powerful talent.
So do you expect to see Maelstrom have a very aggressive early game here on Blackheart to try to get that early lead so that they can, you know, quote-unquote PvE throughout the rest of the game? Or do you think they're just going to try and soak as best they can, hit level 10, and move from there?
With their build, I personally don't think it really, makes a lot of sense to try to take team fights until 10. Because of how much is reliant on getting that judgment initiation followed by the heroic leap and deleting people. Really, I think they just want to try to stay in the game. And I'm pretty sure that's why we see Murlocs picking up those 2 early kills. They're trying to get that lead ahead of time as soon as possible.
And if you take a look at the base kits that are available for Murlocs Inc. ETC with 2 sets of stuns, Tyrande with the Lunar Flare, and Brightwing and the Polymorph, also the grenade, there's a lot more control for the base kit, whereas for Cloud9 Maelstrom, you're looking at Uther stun, and hold on, Caterpillar having to knock back a couple members of Cloud9 Maelstrom. It looks like they will be disengaging just fine. But more or less, you have Sonya Spear and Hammer of Justice. That's all that they have currently available for CC, which, as you mentioned, will change quite a bit as we hit level 10.
Well, Mad Timmy just hit that 40 number mark for the bribe stacks. He's sitting at 46. So whenever he opts to rotate around for those giants, he has the option. Dunk sitting on 6 coins, and the second chest spawn of the game is upon us. And we can see that Murlocs will very quickly try to take the 5, but no, they're going to get bullied back by the aggression of Tyrael and Sonya.
That burst damage for Jaina, followed up with the rest of the enemy team, and that one stun available will get themselves a kill. And that cleanse is actually very nice, very critical, and almost keeping Tyrael alive. Actually, wow, the shield.
Clown is very low from that too. We can see Dunk Train was able to collect 3 of those coins. Timmy picked up 2, putting them at 9 and 3 accordingly. And wow, this is really back and forth. I mean, the level is very even. The kills are going back and forth, 3-2.
It is, but the actual big story is the amount of coins that Cloud9 Maelstrom has. I don't know if you can switch over to that one real quick. Wow, that is a lot of coins. In 21? Did I do my maths right? I think I did. That's 21 coins for Cloud9 Maelstrom. That's almost enough for 2 turn-ins.
But you can never forget the power of stealing coins. And Mad Timmy, he doesn't even want those. He's just going to leave them. They're bait.
I can't imagine why exactly. Yes, Toronto's probably yelling at him over comes. Timmy! You're supposed to grab those coins.
Money is God. Well,
Dunkton
does have the 10. The Clairvoyance will reveal that they are safe. And Clown is thinking about it. Oh, no, he's not going to be able to realize Duncan is there in time. He sees him too little too late, and the turn-in does barely go over for Cloud9.
And depending on how much damage has been done to that mid-wall for the fort, that might get them level 10. Yeah, actually it will, especially with them having taken this tower out. This is a slight advantage. I don't think that they're going to attempt to capitalize. Yeah, none of the team members are close enough together.
Oh, Duncan will get hit by that Lunar Flare. The healing ward does go down, but not before he loses his life.
Nicely done from Equinox. That was a very nice Lunar Flare. Good read on the positioning. Catches them up in levels just about. And still.
Yeah, they're pushing forward. I mean, the triple range. The poly goes down with a strafe, and K1 Pro will die. 5 points to scoop on up. And like we said, I mean, you can hold as many coins as you want, but if you lose them, that advantage is lost. And this is the one map where you can just steal the advantage away from the enemy team by killing them.
Sure. Cloud9 Maelstrom opting to capitalize on this opportunity as best they can. Saying, all right, they're going to push bottom. They're going to apply a lot of aggression. We will attempt to do the same top. However, we did see that, I think it was Tyrande. Was it Tyrande? And Brightwing were turning in mid, and that will get Murlocs Inc. their first turn-in of the game.
And there's already been a decent amount of damage done to that middle lane, so this fort will go down and the bottom fort has already fallen. So although they did lose their top fort to the tribe, man aggression here in the top, okay, now they're going to be able to take up the second fort in the middle. So it's going to be even 1-1 forts, and right now we do have Murlocs picking up a pair of bruisers for themselves.
Sure. And I was talking so much about that Odin, not even the case. We're looking at that Draken Laser Drill.
It's starting to pick up popularity.
I've heard some tales about the Draken Laser Drill. To what effect? The leap is going to be good, and they will just end up chaining some CCs together, catching Toronto just a little bit out of position. Seems like a lot of resources used to pick up that one kill, but that is a free 25 seconds for Cloud9 Maelstrom to sort of roam around the map. And again, try to get that map presence that is so important here to just hold that advantage, and they're going to probably play that out to a T, I would imagine. Not early enough to take the boss. Still, the map control is so important.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Can't stress it enough.
Dunk is going around collecting those coins. Rengar really excels on this map in terms of just roaming around collecting, and Maelstrom has their second turn in. But let's talk about that laser drill a little bit more. Now, I've always really been a fan of it on a map like Sky Temple, where you have these guaranteed fights over the temple. Do you think it'll pay off on a map, like even just for like defending the turn-in, defending this boss?
Yeah, you have to look at the situations where you can guarantee fight, like you were mentioning. And the only one that's really jumping out at me is the boss here. And if Cloud9 Maelstrom tried to go in, I'm sure that they wouldn't hesitate to throw that down. Maelstrom's aware of that. They're not going to try to get too aggressive trying to stop that. K1 Pro having to pop Sprint will be enough to get him out of trouble. But as I was saying before, I think that probably the only guaranteed spots that we're going to see that is by the turn-in spot by Blackheart. Otherwise, it's probably going to end up getting thrown down late into a position. It may not get its effectiveness maybe until level 20 when we see that massive range upgrade for it.
Well, we'll definitely find out. It's a nice pushing tool. It's nice for holding grounds like you mentioned. But we'll see how they want to use it in this game. The boss is wailing away. This is the final fort for Cloud9 Maelstrom, and it looks like Murlocs will succeed in getting it with the utility of their boss. But Hans gets leaped upon.
They had quite a bit of shielding to go being thrown down onto Hans, keep him alive, and that ended up turning the team fight around quite a bit. Wow. I'm shocked how well he was able to stay alive, considering that the levels were dead even there. The protective shield and the healing between Brightwing, I'm shocked that it was enough, but they managed to keep him alive. And that spells just too many resources having been used for Cloud9 Maelstrom.
Oh my goodness, here is that stage dive. Going to try to bully dunk turn back. The team is all here. The Lunar Flare will connect and they will steal the 5 coins. The chest still available. 4 here, 5 here. That is enough for a turn. I'm not good at math.
Massive momentum swing for Murlocs Inc.
Yeah.
All right, let's see the coin. I'll try to do some quick math for you.
Okay, we'll look at the coins.
Oh man, they're changing all the time. What is this?
That's not even math.
That's 11. They got 11 more coins. Oh my
goodness. Good. Let's look at the talents. So we got that Criterize now being picked up, the 16 advantage, a full level lead here for Murlocs Inc. And that's not something you can really just kind of disregard. It's such a powerful thing. Lunar Flare has the Lunar Blaze and the Shooting Star, making it just much more effective. And I mean, they're in a good spot. Murlocs, like we said, they wanted this. This is an important match for them.
Yeah, I'm trying to think what Maelstrom should be doing differently in those team fights and how it was that Tychus was able to survive that. I suppose it just was some combination of Blink Heal, Regenerative Rains, the shield, heal from Tyrande, and maybe he actually got a second to cast First Aid between the stuns, in which case the Maelstrom may need to clean those up. That might still not solve the problem, in which case perhaps Brightwing is the target to go after, if they can manage to squeeze that out.
Yeah, there is no Ice Block, because Face Shield was opted for, which is a pretty uncommon talent. We should point that out, because typically we're seeing something like maybe Ice Block, sometimes Sprint, especially if you see Emerald Wind. But Face Shield is actually really interesting because it gives a lot of burst healing.
This is a good point. Still, though, it is something that's not going to be really casted in the middle of a fight, of course, using that mobility. It does take some time to cast. The shielding amount is very nice, but not going to be something that will have a huge effect in those fights. And Caterpillar opting to throw down the stage dive, not going to initiate the fight, but will at least announce his presence.
Very defensive.
It is.
Like almost like they baited it out, it seemed. Didn't get the effectiveness of a hard initiate, which is something you might want, but Cloud getting blown up so very quickly. Matt Timmy not going to be able to blink on out of that situation. And that is 2 down. The heroic lid going connected with Hans and Equinox. Hans is going to fall, and Equinox is next one to go down. Even Cattle probably won't be able to get out of this situation.
Okay, that was incredibly convincing for Cloud9 Maelstrom. So the judgment was used, and it was just a matter of positioning for Clown. Wasn't able to dodge it with the vault, and that is actually, it's possible to do that for the judgment. There are some iframes on the vault, and if you time it properly, you can get out of there. Not the case here. We're seeing that the judgment was thrown down, and Uther was nearby, so it was good coordination between Material and Uther to lock down that single target. So much so that the leap was able to be used to clean up the rest of the team fight. They might have, Murlocs may have been able to salvage that, you know, somewhat, to maybe only have 2 losses or so, but the leap was able to get Sonya onto the other side with the spear still. Jaina cleaning up the rest of the fight, throwing that damage down. It's too much. That's how it was 5-0, right? Yeah.
That was a full-on ace, and from that, Maelstrom translated that into a fort and a keep, and the top lane is completely pushed. So what went from an advantageous position with a level advantage on Murlocs has been completely turned around with a team wipe. And now Murlocs are sitting in a great spot. They're sitting on all the money.
And people say that you can't make comebacks on this map. We've seen the advantage swap hands how many times now?
Quite a few
in this game.
So Murlocs, they're not out yet by any means.
No, of course
Level
not.
18-18 structurally, it's pretty darn even forts. All the forts in the game have been destroyed, but they do have to worry about that bottom lane where they no longer have a keep.
Yes, 2 keeps remain for both teams, which does suggest that there will be a bit of pressure applied in those lanes that don't have keeps. So what really this spells to is a slight advantage lead for Maelstrom, and of course those coins. They're so important. So I'm going to be paying attention to Murlocs' positioning and what they're going to do to try to deny the turn into Blackheart, because that's going to spell quite a bit of trouble. And with these chests spawning, probably not what Murlocs wants to see right now. They do have the positional advantage for this top one. That might end up spelling a bit more pressure. Are they going to be able to initiate properly here? King Caffeine a bit forward, going to back up.
Now all heroics are available for this next fight. Both teams really respecting each other. And You know, that last fight, the stage dive was used very kind of preemptively. But does it even help when trying to disengage the judgment combo? I mean, it's so fast.
Not so much. It is, you know, a 30-second slow for a small amount of time. King Caffeine actually getting a bit aggressive. And I wouldn't be so against Maelstrom simply backing up. And since they know the positioning for Murlocs, they could opt to just grab the turn-in and turn in what they have. I think they have enough for another full turn-in, which would probably net them another keep, which is a big deal, especially experience-wise when you're racing to get to that level 20. Oh, so important. It's a huge power swing for both teams.
Well, the Sentinel will reveal the positioning on King Caffeine, and Caterpillar is putting himself up there. We see the Brightwing bribing those bottom giants, can phase shift in the battle whenever needed, and when she phase shifts, she gives that 200 shielding.
Right.
That level 13 talent. Lunar Flare will not connect with Dream, but neither will the Ancient Spear.
Cloud needs to be careful with his positioning. He has to know that he is going to be the sought-after target. That last team fight went way too well for Cloud and Maelstrom not to keep that in the back of his head to say, all right, yeah, and there it is. King Caffeine decides to dive onto Cloud. Uther is close enough to get the jump with the Divine Storm, and the leap follow-up is good. Laser Drill is thrown down, but is decimated very quickly. Ancestral Healing is going to be good to keep members alive. Hans will fall quickly. It is still a 2-for-0 at the moment, although there are some members of Cloud and Maelstrom that are very low biceps. He could find himself in a bad spot, but no, it is a 3-for-0, perhaps more. Caterpillar still on the wrong side of the rest of his team that is still alive. Actually, that would just be Tyrande. And they are chasing in the top lane.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, he just tried to cast Stage Dive there and was stunned out of it. He has another 10 seconds. If he can stay alive long enough, he will be able to cast that again. It should be off cooldown just about now. Does he have enough? He doesn't have enough mana to cast it.
Hey, it's Ripperoni here. That is another 5-4-0. And it all boiled down to just how quickly they killed Tyrande. Tyrande got Vala. Vala was not able to cast a single spell. And like you mentioned, you can vault out of that judgment at very precise
It's
timing.
hard. It's hard
to do, but he did not manage to do it once again, and he lost his life for it. We saw the laser drill get thrown down instantly, and they just burned it down. I mean,
do you think it was too close to where the rest of the team fight was, or is this something you should space out, I think?
I just think there wasn't like enough they had to worry about in terms of damage since it was used after Vala was already dead, and Tychus got caught in the combo from that heroic leap. I mean, it's an AoE stun. It was used a little bit too late to actually even make a difference, and even with a triple Lunar Flare hitting 3 targets, it didn't actually like matter at the end of the day.
They didn't have the follow-up, right? Because there were just too much of their DPS had already fallen. There's 2 ways to look at the positioning for the laser drill. You can throw it down outside of the team fight to try and force enemy members of the enemy team to change their focus and maybe overextend to try and kill it. Or you can throw it in the middle of the team fight and just hope that it, again, draws focus, but just so you know it's going to die, but it will just soak up damage. It sort of acts as another body in the fight. You don't get the full effectiveness out of it, but I guess it acts quote-unquote like a second health bar for a 6th member of the team. Still, didn't quite have the effectiveness that it was looking for. As you mentioned, the leap was very much on point in securing a few members of Murlocs.
All right, so they have enough coins to turn in, but they don't have level 20.
That's
it's 21 to 19, and we see Caffeine and iDream coming from the backside. Now, that time the stage dive is going to help out quite a bit. Starfall, but Divine Storm hitting everything, and they are actually just going to evaporate.
Jaina, please! Oh, man. The combination of that, just all the stuns, I was shocked they had enough damage. Although Tyrael, he's good at starting fights, of course, but the damage output that he has isn't really the big deal. So, that level 20, it spoke huge volumes in that fight. The hardened shield for Sonya, and really the big story was, of course, the extra range on the Divine Storm, walking down the entire enemy team. They were just too plumped up for that position.
Leap plus Divine Hurricane.
Yeah, and then that lets Jaina just tee off with her abilities. Just, all right, I'm just going to go to town for a little bit here and just kill the enemy team. Easy peasy. But that was quick. I was shocked at how fast they died.
They just melted. I was like, okay, look, this is actually really nice. The stage dive was planned well, and this is going to work out for him. But as soon as I said that, I ate my words, because that Divine Storm and that leap and Jaina's just AoE damage is...
Yeah, that's rough, because you would think, right, like you said, starting off the team fight with, a 4v5 immediately, it's like, oh, should they have killed him and then backed up and looked for another? No, I mean, I guess the best that Murlocs could have done in that exact scenario is to just immediately spread out. Like, that Maelstrom is going to have to go in and engage to try to salvage the best they can of that situation. Maelstrom's not really the type of team to just, half initiate, we lost somebody, we're going to back up. No, they're going to go full in. They're going to make the best of what they can, even if that means having a slightly disadvantaged trade. They know they're so far ahead structure-wise that they wouldn't be able to end the game as long as they killed off a couple of the enemy heroes from Murlocs. They went in the Divine Storm, catching every single member. It's just too much. Just too much.
Convincing stuff from Maelstrom.
Absolutely convincing.
And as a result, well, that means that Maelstrom will be advancing. Now, these are the standings going in today. And guys, if you're just tuning in, that means that this is the final play day, the final week of the group stage.
Right.
And Maelstrom has defeated Murlocs Inc. So their total score will be 4-3. And Murlocs Inc. will tie with Evil Geniuses at 3-4. That means that it's going to be Barrel Boys, 2ARC, Tempo Storm, and Maelstrom in the playoffs, but the
relegations.
That's the word. That's the word. Relegation matches will be played by Murlocs, EG, Lunatic, and Synapsis, but the group stage isn't done yet.
The group stage isn't done. We still have more games to be played on Thursday. Jake, do you happen to know who's playing who?
Of course not.
I think it is Tempo Storm versus Lunatic Esports, and Barrel Boys will be playing against 2ARC Iliad, which will also be a very exciting match in terms of deciding. I think that determines number 2 and 3 slot between 2ARC and Tempo Storm. I have to let me look at these. Real
technically, technically 2ARC could beat Barrel Boys, and the season could end 6-1 for both 2ARC and Barrel Boys. So if 2ARC upsets Barrel Boys, they will tie for first place, and that is a big deal. Having the first seed is huge. But on the side of Tempo Storm, they're going to face Lunatic. So the best Tempo Storm can do is 5-2. So if 2ARC loses, they tie with Tempo Storm. If 2ARC wins, there's a tie for first place.
Well, it's not necessarily a tie, right? I think the points will work so that 2ARC, if they 2-0 Barrel Boys, they'll have 17 points. Barrel Boys will have 18. And that would be the tiebreaker between the two. So Barrel Boys would still advance. If the points were tied, 2ARC obviously would advance over because they beat them in the head-to-head.
No, you get 3 points for each match.
Do you?
Yeah.
For a win on a match?
Yeah.
That's a... Okay. Oh, right. Okay, so then it will go down to match score, which we don't have available right here.
Yeah, so there's some other variables at that point, but either way, no matter how you look at it, it's the next match we have is really to determine the seeding for the end of this, and it's big for Lunatic to try to take that win to put themselves in a decent spot for the actually no, it doesn't affect them no matter what. No matter what, they are going to be 7th place for the relegation matches, no matter how well they perform. So for them,
they did actually have a chance to get 6th seed if they had beaten
if they won last week.
Yeah,
right. But that is not the case here.
Still, all 4 of those teams that are in the playoffs now, very, very hot teams. They are on fire. All of them. They're all playing so well. I don't think going into this anyone expected 2ARC to play so well, but everything about their play is super clean, and I just honestly cannot wait for this playoffs because all these teams they're playing at such a high level that we have never seen before. It's going to be really exciting matches.
The playoffs are just about 10 days away. They happen on the 27th and 28th? Friday, Saturday.
Whatever those days are, guys.
27th, 28th, whatever that weekend is, they happen Friday and Saturday.
Yes.
Every single match is a best of 5. Now, there's only 4 teams. All 4 teams will be making money, but it's a best of 5 semifinals, basically, right? It's one best of 5, then another best of 5, and then a grand finals.
All right, are we casting the 2 semifinals on the Friday, and then the finals will be on Saturday?
We should confirm this.
Yes, we should.
Before we actually get there, because we could be telling you guys all the wrong information. And
we don't want to do that.
It's just face palming. So we will actually confirm that information before Thursday's cast to figure out exactly how the playoff formats will work, because this will be our first ever playoff cast here for ESL.
It'll be exciting. It'll be really exciting. Like I said, those games are going to be good. I know they are. If it's any indication of how good the series was between Barrel Boys and Tempo Storm, I can't wait.
Oh my goodness, that series was phenomenal.
It was.
We almost died.
Easily the best series that we've ever casted. That was too much fun. Hope you guys caught that. Otherwise, the VODs are up on the YouTube for ESL. I don't quite remember the URL for that.
Are they on YouTube?
I think so. I'm almost positive.
I know they're on Twitch at least.
Okay. I'll double check that. Again, we don't want to give you
Kubi
guys
will
that.
Kubi will tweet the link after
I
this
will,
broadcast.
of course. How could
so
I not?
follow Kubi.
Yes, at the Kubi, and follow this guy
at Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, SolidJakeGG.
That's right.
And I'll be streaming on my Twitch right after this.
Oh, fancy. Perhaps I'll join you for some games.
Mm.
What game are you playing, Jake?
Oh, Heroes of the Stromboli.
Oh, Murky Free Week.
Murky Free Week.
Yes.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for
That
us
will.
here at the North American ESL Major League. We will be back Thursday, hopefully without technical difficulties.
Fingers crossed.
Until next time, thanks for watching.